Well, this video was long overdue. I've been meaning to make this video for months. Before even my Spider-Man 2 video, I've been meaning to make this video for the longest time now. But with the Switch 2 and all the news going on surrounding that, I thought this would be the most appropriate time. And here's why. Because personally I have a digital library. I took a poll on Twitter, many people have a digital only library. So I think it's fair to say the digital gaming market is huge. It is rapidly expanding over physical gaming. I think that's pretty obvious, and there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. I like digital gaming a lot, saves me time, all this good stuff. Not trying to argue which one is better, but there's no denying that digital gaming is becoming more standardized, and I think this was really shown in 2020 when the PS5 first came out with both a disc option and a disc-free digital-only model. And that's the model that I currently still use, is no disc, so it's digital only. And of course it does save a little bit of money if you go this route as well, but I think it's still a pretty strong evidence to show that the digital gaming market had expanded to a point where Sony was confident they could launch an entire console with no disc drive as a mainline console. Nothing like an Xbox Series S, whatever the hell, that doesn't have a disc drive, but it's not the main console, it's the cheaper option. But here, even though it is technically cheaper, it's still the PS5 with no disc. So Sony is clearly investing in the fact that there's going to be a large amount of people who just don't care about having physical media. And that's fine, if you really have a digital library only, like myself, then it works out great. At least most of the time. Unfortunately, with the digital gaming market expanding as much as it has, we have seen developers creep into the space and take advantage of consumers like ourselves that are trying to play games on digital. Let me introduce to you why digital gaming is killing this industry, not by existing, but by allowing developers to take advantage of this space. Now let me rip the band-aid off right off the bat. You don't really own your games, okay? When you get a digital game now on PlayStation, there will be an option when you right click, there will be an option that says restore license, which you can do if you need to get your license back if the game isn't accessible for whatever reason. But here's the thing. Developers that pull that kind of move, developers that will shut down your game and remove your license from you, they're becoming more prevalent every day, digital or physical. But the reason it's more on digital is because, of course, you don't actually have the disc on digital. You only have the game on your console. So if a developer decides to take away your license, you can try to restore it through PlayStation. But assuming that doesn't work, a developer has effectively robbed you of your money, your hard-earned money, and your game progress, memories, all that good stuff. They just took it away from you. Okay, that's really, really shitty and a huge con. Luckily, a lot of developers don't do this. At least so far within the last couple of years. The last decade, I haven't seen huge examples of these. Though if you do have one, please let me know in the comments below. I do want to hear if anyone's lost their game license. I would love to hear about it. I'll make a post on it. But regardless of that, that is a huge con and something that is inviting developers to do because servers are expensive. So why not just shut down the game in addition to taking your license away? That is a huge, huge killer. And especially if you are just playing digital, if you want to get just a cheap console, like let's say the Series S for example, that is digital only, the developers have effectively stripping you of a game that you can no longer get back. Unless you decide to upgrade your console to get the disc drive, you effectively can't get that game back. So that's robbery right there. That is straight up robbery, and I don't know how else to put it. That's the only way I can put it here in this video, is that they are robbing you effectively because you don't own your game. And you could try to restore your license, but they could take that away too. So you lose your license and the game. That's like, to explain that to most audiences is just saying robbery, okay? They're taking your stuff away. Now look, this isn't the vast majority of cases. In fact, this is a very, very, very small chance that I'm talking about. But the fact that it does exist and that it's going to eventually start creeping up years down the line, I think is something that should be talked about. Because eventually, when the digital gaming market is essentially most of the market, the vast majority of the market right now is digital. When that becomes inflated and games start dying because they start getting restricted licenses, pulling away from stores, you're going to see a lot of people lose their shit, literally, because they don't have their games to play anymore. I don't want to say that this seems like an inevitability with every single game that you buy online, especially considering that games on even discs are now requiring downloads, meaning that it really factually doesn't matter if you have a physical copy or not, because the developer has chosen to opt it so you have to download regardless. So even if you get a disc drive or not, it doesn't matter, because the developer already has the download on the disc that you have to download through to get it digitally anyways. So it really doesn't matter a lot of cases as well, regardless of which way you go. But this applies more to the digital market again, because if you're getting it all digital and you don't have the disc, of course you also can't resell it. Now, I've never really resold a lot of my games, honestly. I still have my old 360 collection out there somewhere, so I don't really resell my games. But it is nice to have that if you get something that's just abhorrent, something terrible, a really garbage game, and you want to just go sell it, or you just didn't like the game so you want to go sell it. That option is always nice. However, again, that's because you actually have the game in your hands. With the digital one, it really depends on which gaming market you go for. With PlayStation, they've been very restrictive with refunds, so that's why I'm talking from the PlayStation perspective of the digital market, where they just won't refund you. They refuse to refund you for what games you're going to be buying. If you even touch the game, you can't refund it. Now, with DLCs and microtransactions, they are more lenient, so I can appreciate Sony a little bit for allowing refunds on that kind of stuff, and especially microtransactions. The fact that those little shits can sometimes not even be refunded at all in a game where that it revolves around it is pretty asinine, and something that's really harming in the industry, because if you get a microtransaction that doesn't work, you effectively just gave them money. They effectively just took your money for non-functioning product. Now, I can't think of any games that happen to fit that description, but I'm sure if they did, I'd be adding in that image right about now in the video. So if I did, please leave it in a comment below and what you thought about this particular game. Because, you know, this industry is just accepting broken games and broken purchases, I guess. Whatever, that's a whole other subject. My whole point here is the fact that you really don't have the actual ownership, and it's going to hurt more when they decide to take your license away. And that just doesn't seem right to me, honestly. It just doesn't seem right that they can do that. And it also doesn't seem right that you can have like a broken launch. And unless it's Cyberpunk levels where they actually get you refunds from Sony themselves, or, you know, gets pulled off the fucking store because it's so broken, unless it's something like that, you're not going to get your refund. And that just seems like a huge dick move. Because at least with a actual disc, you know, you can go get a refund, or you could just fucking sell the damn thing. But here, you just can't. You can't. You have to deal with the broken game. And it's just a really shitty refund policy from Sony, but just in general as well, because Steam is more lenient, they do give you more time, but it's still really annoying that with the digital game, if it's broken, guess what? There's nothing you can do. There's really nothing you can do unless the game is beyond broken, unless it's, like I said, Cyberpunk levels, or if it just won't refuse to work, you're not going to get a refund for it. I myself experienced this with Black Ops Cold War when I tried to refund that game because it would flat out not work for an entire season straight and I couldn't play the game. And Sony, being Sony, did not issue any refunds. So I couldn't play my own product. Every time I launched the app, it would crash for a months on end. And that's why you didn't see much Cold War content on this channel or footage, is because I couldn't play the game for months on end. And that's what I'm talking about. When you get a game like that and you can't get refunds, it's absurd. It really is absurd because the game is broken. You have evidence that it's broken, but they won't listen. You already bought the game. You already sent them the money, and if you sent them for digital purchases or anything, you just fed the machine even more. Why would they issue a refund when they already got the money in the first place? That's just a question I'm going to leave with you guys, because I don't know. I'm not a businessman. I'm just a guy making these videos because he's angry at the gaming industry. But that's just me, you know. I don't know if anyone else agrees or disagrees with my sentiments here. But if you do, please, again, leave comments. I really want to hear what you guys have to say about this. Because, again, I am a digital gamer. But seeing these market practices, seeing these developers just become scummy, these fucking companies that can think they can get away with this kind of stuff, it's asinine. It really is going to kill the industry. Because no one's really going to start buying games either way when they see that your game can be taken away just like that. Even with games now becoming downloads on discs, it's really just telling that you shouldn't get games. You should just stick with what you got, and it'll lead to a crash, recession, or something in the gaming industry that's going to cause it to crash, and that's going to be a hell of a time. I'll be here, we'll all be here just playing our normal games when that happens. So when that happens, you know I'm going to be making a video on it, and we're all going to be talking about how this killed the gaming industry. Now, to pretty much TLDR, is digital gaming inherently bad for the gaming industry? No, I am a digital gamer. Majority of gamers these days are digital gamers. That is not the issue here. What is the issue is what digital gaming has invited. Gamers these days are getting very complacent. When it's so easy just to buy and purchase a game and download it, man, who cares about these issues? I can just play the game whenever I want. Man, why is this game $70, $80, $90? Man, who cares? I can just play it right now. I can just download it easy peasy. This kind of complacency is what's going to kill the industry, and unfortunately it's being spearheaded under the guise of digital gaming, because digital gaming is super convenient. There's no problems with it. Sure, you might lose your game and license later down the line, but who cares, man? Just play the game right now. You can just download it right now. Nothing's stopping you. You don't have to wait for the game to get to your house. You don't have to leave the house to go get it. You can literally just play it right now, which is all fine and good. But when you're going to introduce these business practices, and when you start taking away games, people are going to get mad, and that's going to lead to the death of the gaming industry. Alright, now with that all being said, if you guys enjoyed this video, please slap that like button and subscribe. I could always use a new addition to the Dark Ops army. And if you're a digital gamer or physical gamer at heart, please let me know in the comments below. I'd like to see how many of you prefer digital or physical media. How much physical media do you have, and do you have a collection? I'd love to know. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Dark Ops. I'll see you guys in the next one. Dark Ops